What is up, YouTube? Woo! Mr. King coming live with King Academy. What you're going to be learning about today is what happens to the energy that I eat. Okay? So for your notes, please put that as a title. Left side, please put the words on the screen. The right side, please draw a picture. And if it has a star, that means it's important and that you need to write it down. Okay? So our new unit is energy. And a lot of people know what energy is, but not many people can actually define energy. So if you're curious, please write down energy is the ability to do work. And I don't mean work like doing your job. I just mean like doing stuff, like thinking, breathing, moving, lifting. That's all work. Okay? So energy, I use Midoriya as an example. His powers basically just gives him varying amounts of energy. So energy is ability to do work. So on the left, put that down. On the right, please draw a picture of something with energy. Okay? Next, I want you to remember from chemistry. Chemical energy is energy in chemical bonds. So everything that you eat has chemical energy. So could you please write this down and then draw a picture of a food? Just so you remember that chemical energy is in food. And also review from chem. When you form a new bond, you release energy. So when bonds form, they're more stable. So when you go from unstable to stable, you release energy. Okay? That's a review for chem. You don't need to know that as much. You do need to know that food has chemical energy. Okay? Next, calories. You've all heard of calories. A calorie is technically how scientists measure energy in food. But this is for you. I want you to know not all calories are equal. Calories from natural or healthy foods are easier to digest, and therefore your bodies will get more energy out of them and they'll feel more full. You'll feel more full after those kinds of foods. So that's why 3 apples is 300 calories and so is 300 calories in 1 donut. The reason is we get calories just by burning them, but in reality, if you have 3 apples, you'll be a lot more full than if you just have 1 donut. That's the thing with junk food. You can eat a lot, but you don't necessarily feel as full. And I'll go over why in a bit. But you should know what a calorie is. Please write that down and then label whatever you drew in the last slide. Label how many calories it has. Okay, I want you to think. Please pause this video. What happens if you do not use all the calories that you eat? Try and think if you eat more than what you use. What happens? Hopefully you remember, based on your life experience, depends on the food that you eat, about what happens to it, okay? There's 4 different types of foods: proteins, carbs, sugar like sucrose, like in the donut, and fat. But mainly, calories, especially sugar, that you don't use will be stored as fat, so your body can break down the fat it needs for more energy later. If you have more protein, that'll more likely be stored as muscle, okay? And I have a clip. Flash has a nightmare. He eats a lot of food, and the reason why he eats a lot of food is because he needs a lot of energy to run super fast. In this episode, he has a nightmare though, where he loses his fast metabolism. So it's a little creepy, but I want you to remember this is what would happen if the Flash ate the same amount, but he didn't have a super speed. Okay? That's what he ended up looking like. And if you have as much food as he does without the fast metabolism, you wouldn't be able to run at all. Okay? But don't worry, at the end of the dream, I'll show you what happens. Yep, he just runs backwards and he's fine at the end of the dream. Okay. But the point was calories that you don't use go somewhere. They get stored in your body as fat, muscle, or you poop them out. Okay? And here's my first problem for you. If you eat a burger that is 650 calories, how many minutes will you have to jog to burn off that burger? If every minute that you jog, you burn 50 calories, I use this problem, the science here, from the movie Super Size Me. Okay? Try and figure out how many minutes will you have to jog to burn off that Big Mac. Please pause the video now and write it down in your notes and figure out how many minutes you have to jog to work off that Big Mac. Hopefully you noticed if the Big Mac is 650 calories and every minute that you jog, you're burning 50 calories. You take 650 calories divided by 50 and you get 13 minutes. That's a lot of running just to work off the Big Mac. That's why a lot of people, if you're really trying to lose weight, it's better to just not eat a Big Mac or eat something that's smaller if you're trying to lose weight, because that would be a lot of running just to work off that burger. Okay? Now, I have a more realistic problem for you. Let's say you get tired. If you eat a burger that has 650 calories and you jogged for only 6 minutes, maybe your stomach got upset, so you only jogged for 6 minutes. How many calories will be stored in your body as fat and muscle? Now, if you only jogged for 6 minutes this time and then stopped, please pause the video and try and figure it out. Hopefully you noticed it's about half as much jogging you did last question. So you take the 50 calories per minute, times it by 6 for how much you jogged, and you get 300 calories. That's how many calories you burned. Okay? Therefore, you take how many calories you burned minus the Big Mac, and you get 350 calories left over. That would be stored as muscle and fat. Okay? The reason why I'm teaching you about food, it all comes back to the law of conservation, which says, you need to write this down. You've learned about it in chemistry, bio, and now physics. Energy and matter can't be created or destroyed, only moved from one area to another. So if you eat a burger, it's giving you a lot of energy. If you don't use that energy in running or lifting or thinking, it'll either get pooped out, it'll go somewhere, it'll get pooped out, or it'll go into your body and you'll keep it. And the food you eat, that came from somewhere. It came from an animal or a plant. And they got it from their parents, and their parents got it from their parents. And it's just an endless chain back to the beginning of time. So the theory is all the matter and energy, for the most part, that was in the universe in the beginning, is still the same today. Because it just keeps moving around. Okay? This is why whatever energy you eat and don't use, it's either pooped out or stored in your body. The energy and the matter, it does go somewhere in some form. And that's what I want you to get with the food. Now we're going to practice this a little bit more. Food science disclaimer. We're doing this in a very simple manner. You gain weight if you eat more than you use, and you lose weight if you use more than you eat. But in reality, it's a lot more complicated. How much weight you gain or lose depends on the type of food you eat, your metabolism, and your activity level. Okay? Those are really the three things that will determine like how many calories go in and out. So we're going to try a more complicated problem. But first you need to know, I remember I told you not all calories are equal. Some foods have more calories and they're more nutrient dense, which means you get more energy out and you're less hungry after. So foods like an apple, they have a lot more water and a lot more fiber, so a lot easier to digest. So you get a lot more of the energy out of them. So it has to do with efficiency. If a food is 100% efficient, you'll get all 300 calories that you eat. If it's 90% efficient, you get 90% of 300 calories. And if you don't know how to do percents, you take the percent, like 90%, and you move it over 2 decimals and you get 0.9. So 90% is 0.9. 100% is 1. But for 90% of 300, you take 0.9 times 300 and you get 270. That's how you do percents. The other 30 calories is either pooped out or goes to your body. Okay? So here's my question. Apples are 85% efficient. You get 85% of the energy from the apple you eat. Okay? If you eat one donut is 300 calories and it's 29% efficient. It's processed, so you don't get as much energy out. So you eat one donut, 300 calories at 29% efficiency, and you eat one apple, which is 100 calories, and it's 85% efficient. Which will give you more energy, and how many more calories of energy will it give you? Please pause the video now and show your work. Remember to figure out the percentages, you multiply by 0.29 and then 0.85 for this one. So for the donut, you take 300 calories times 0.29 and you get 87 calories. That's how much energy your body will actually be able to use. The apple is 100 calories times 0.85 or 85 calories. So the apple is very close to the donut. Donut will technically give you a little bit more energy, but you still may be a little bit more hungry after the donut. Okay, last question for you. This is like a typical day at your high school if you're in weight training. If you eat 2,500 calories of food and you lift weights for 2 hours and burn 600 calories per hour, and you burn 500 calories from walking around during the day, you burn 500 calories for doing math and going to school. Yes, you do burn calories for doing math. The harder you have to think, the more calories you burn. And lastly, you poop 300 calories out. Do you gain or lose weight? And how much? All right, this one's going to be a lot of subtracting. That's my hint. Please pause the video now and try and figure out, do you gain weight or lose weight? Okay. Hopefully you noticed. You take 2,500 minus 2 times 600 for the 2 hours you worked out, minus the 500 from walking, minus 500 from thinking in math or in your other classes, minus 300 from pooping, and you end up with 0 calories. It's all balanced out. What you ate is equal to what you used. And that's reflective of what most days are. Most days, you're not gaining weight, and you're not losing weight. You may be thinking, Mr. Keen, all of that weightlifting was for nothing. No, not necessarily. You will have gained muscle. So that's a nice thing. Some of your fat may have been turned into muscle, but not enough to really change your weight a lot. Okay? So that was the point. Most days, you really don't gain or lose any weight. Your body may change with muscle content, but it really won't change your weight that much after a day. Okay? That's the last thing. Please write a summary in your notes and answer what happens to the energy that you eat. And today I learned that blank. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with me this whole video. I appreciate it. Have a great night.